Hello, I'm Porschia Parker Griffin, and I want to welcome you to the Career 101 podcast, a place for ambitious professionals and seasoned executives who want an edge in their career. We're talking about all of the things you were never taught or told when it comes to career growth, development, and change. Now, let's get into it. Today, we are talking about mentoring and specifically building a mentoring relationship with Trevor Houston. Trevor Houston, CEO of ClearPath Wealth Strategies, is a prominent career strategist and financial expert. He specializes in simplifying complex financial processes, particularly 401k rollovers, and offers personalized guidance during significant career transitions. Trevor is also host of the Who You Know show, where he explores the pivotal role of connections and mentorship in career advancement. His expertise has garnered recognition from prestigious publications like Forbes, Yahoo Finance, MarketWatch, ABC, CBS, and LinkedIn News. Hi, Trevor. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing well. I am excited to have you with us to discuss mentoring and building mentoring relationships. But first, we want to know a little more about you. So tell me about 7-year-old Trevor.
7-year-old Trevor. Oh, he was mischievous. Okay. Yeah, childhood kind of started off on a rocky path, actually. My parents divorced when I was pretty young, and that divorce really caused some chaos. My mom was disabled, and I ended up staying with my mom. And some things really happened from that point where there was I had a lot of people living with us in and out of the house, in and out all the time, a lot of different roommates because my mom couldn't work. And so I grew up around a lot of different types of people, ended up getting in a lot of trouble. My house was like a homeless shelter and lots of drug dealers, lots of crazy stuff going on. Anyways, okay, growing up, I got in a lot of trouble up as a teenager. And then the courts actually decided that it was not the right place for me to be. So I was actually forced to move with my father at the age of 16. And that's where things really turned around and I got a second chance at life.
So, what was your first job, Trevor?
My first job. Hold on. Let me show you this. Okay, my first job was Tanner's Catfish Cafe. And let's say I was probably 13. I was 13 years old. And I had to get this thing called a work permit. Okay.
So cool.
I had to get this work permit. Let's see if I can zoom that in. But anyway,
As I see you.
yeah, and it was because I was on probation. I was on probation because at 13 years old, I was in and out of the juvenile court and juvenile detention facilities and all of that. And I had to pay back some restitution. And so I had to get a job at 13, which I don't think you're legally able to work until I think you're at least 16. But anyway, the court allowed me to do it at 16 so I could pay off this restitution. But Tanner's Catfish Cafe, okay, bussing tables, right? And that's where I learned my love for crawfish.
Okay, that sounds like you started building that work ethic early.
I did, yeah.
And I would have been there because I love fried catfish specifically. The crawfish, the catfish. There's definitely, I think that's a pretty good place to be probably on some days.
Mhm.
So, Trevor, tell us about some highlights or pivotal moments in your career before you started your businesses and what you're doing today.
Yeah, so again, when I was 16, that transformation started to happen. That was a big pivotal moment. I got a second chance at life, and I wasn't supposed to be anything. If you look at where I came from and my background and the history and my record, and I'm so grateful because all of that was juvenile, right? And you can't even see it. So it doesn't affect me and when it comes to employment and things like that. But I got a second chance at life and I moved to my father's. And my father was able to right the ship. Okay. I was headed in the wrong direction. And a lot of that was work. Actually, work is one of the things that saved my life because he taught me how to work hard, how to I remember working with my dad on the job site painting houses, and it was one of my first times remembering, like, getting up really super early, the rise and grind whole thing, and that sense of pride when we would take something that was ugly and transform it into something beautiful, and that again, that sense of pride at the end of the day. And he taught me how to save and how to invest in myself, and really, I owe a lot to my father and my heavenly Father as well, because that was all just part of my path, that's led me where I am today.
Yeah, you have a very interesting and inspiring background. What motivated you to start your own business?
Mm. I was, let's call it 22. I was in the automotive industry, and the automotive industry was actually really good for me. This was the first time in my life I was ever really successful at something. Like, again, my early life, teenager stuff like that, I was a failure, I was a screw up, I was always getting in trouble, like, I was never good at anything. Wasn't good in school, you know, all that kinda stuff, and then here I get in the automotive industry, and I was the best at something. I literally did, like, my first year there, I was a top producer, and one of the reasons for that was I had my sales manager there was really like a coach or a mentor. We're talking about mentorship today. He really poured into me, and I think people are only as successful as the environment they're in, right? We need nourishment, and he was nourishing me, and I became a top producer there. It really set me off on a good start into my career, right? The only downside to where I was, the environment was also toxic. I had a good mentor, I had a good leader, I had a good manager, but however, there was still, the automotive industry was very, like, when you hear those words, toxic masculinity, that's what it was. Macho behavior, it was all of this, that. People are cussing and screaming and yelling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and anyways, it was a toxic environment, and I also knew that I wasn't gonna be able to move up, okay? I was their top producer, they didn't wanna lose their top producer, so they were gonna try to keep me there as long as possible. I ended up doing 6 years there. The GM really didn't like me that much because I was very aggressive and just I was go getting it. And I remember there was a promotion opportunity that came up, and I went to talk to the GM and I said, "Hey, this opportunity was available 2 years ago and it just didn't work out. I'm curious, what are your thoughts now? What are your thoughts now?" And he said, "That's the good news. I don't have to make a decision for 90 days." And I said, "Wow, okay." I said, "That's unfortunate because if you don't know after 6 years, then you don't know after 90 days." And I put in my 2 weeks notice right then. I said, he wanted me to dance for him for 90 days. That's what he wanted. And I said, "You know what? I can't. I'm just not. I was, again, the top producer there 6 years in a row. I'm not gonna dance for you for 90 days. If you don't already know, I gotta go." And so I did. I put in my 2 weeks notice, and what he didn't know was behind the scenes prior to, I was already getting ready. I was already preparing. I was already saving, and I was already studying and doing everything I needed to get my exams and licenses so I could make a transition into financial services. But that's really where it came from. I just hit that glass ceiling way too many times, and enough was enough. I was like, I need to do something where I have a little bit more control, and there's no one really holding me back from that next level. The only thing holding me back is myself, right? There's no gatekeepers when you become a business owner. You are the gatekeeper. But that's the story of how it all came about.
It's great that you had the confidence to do that. I talk to a lot of our clients and they might be passed over for a promotion or something along those lines. And a lot of times there's still a lot of work that has to be done to get them to the point to even have a conversation about it. with their manager, their boss, or whomever that decision maker is, or to make that decision that you ultimately did to explore other opportunities. So, Trevor, we've talked about mentorship on the podcast before. That was back in our episode 5. Before we dig into building a mentoring relationship, I want to know from you, why do you think mentoring is important?
Oh, it's so important. That's that old saying, you're the average of the top 5 people you associate with. I think that a mentor is just simply somebody who's been there, done that, okay? And the easiest way to get from A to Z when you're lost, okay, is to pull over and ask someone who's already been there for directions. Right? That's gonna save you time. You're gonna avoid pitfalls and roadblocks and speed bumps and potholes. You're gonna avoid all of that stuff, and you're gonna be able to get there quicker. And yeah, a mentorship program is absolutely crucial if you're trying to expedite and get to success in whatever it is that you're doing, whether that's relationships, whether that's your career, whether that's your finances, whatever that is in your life that you're trying to do, find a mentor that is qualified in that area, right? A lot of times people want to get this like guru that can do it all, but that's not what you need to do. You need to have someone that has a success track record in the thing you're trying to do, whether that's again, if I want a better marriage, I need someone that models that and that's been there and done that. If I want a better career, I need someone who's navigated those career journey in my industry. And so it's crucial. It really is. It's really important to have mentors. And I don't think you just have one, you have multiple for different areas that you want to succeed.
Yeah. Many of our listeners know that I think a mentor can be a great addition to what I like to call your career support system. You started talking about this, but I want to dive even deeper. In your opinion, what qualities should people look for in a potential mentor?
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, the number one quality that I'm looking for is, have they done the thing that I want to do? Are they at the place that I want to be? Are they willing, right? That's the other thing, is that a lot of times successful people, they're busy and things like that. And so it's like, how do you get them to a point where they want to help you? And a lot of times, as busy as some successful people are, I feel like it's human nature that we want to help other people. I really do. I think generally people are good. They want to help other people. And if they see something in you, they're gonna wanna help you, and that's the tricky part though, right? You gotta add some value to their life. You gotta be able to add some value to that person's life and give them that sense of, "Wow, this kid really wants to he's really going places. He really wants it. This kid wants it. You know what? Let me help him out." That's the mindset, and so reaching out to these people, adding some value, figuring out how you can serve them. Ultimately, it starts with a networking piece, right? And networking, people always ask me about networking, and networking essentially is, it's not about you, it's about how you can serve the other person. And so, how do you serve that mentor? How do you give back to that mentor? How do you volunteer? How do you make their life easier? And if you can make that mentor's life easier, and they're going to bend over backwards to help you, right? And so that's what I would recommend for people to do. If they've identified somebody they want to mentor them, go serve water, right? Figure out how you can serve that mentor so that they want to then help you in return.
I love that. So, Trevor, what if someone doesn't have that mentor in mind, right? What do you think are some of the best ways to just find a mentor?
Yeah, look up online who's doing what you want to do. Let's throw out some examples. Like for myself, because I do this podcasting thing, and in my space, I went to Google and started looking up who does what I do in my space and who's really crushing it. Who is really crushing it? And like some people, you got Dave Ramsey, you got Ken Coleman, you got Patrick Bet David, you got all of these legends. Like there's some people, Ed Milet. And I started looking at those people and it's okay. Now I have someone to model after. Okay. But that's how you first, I recommend people to get what I call your wish list. Okay. Like go do some research, get your wish list. Now, the tricky part here is getting those people's attention. Like some of the names I just named are very large names. And how do you get those people's attention to where they want to help you? That's a tricky one, but it can be done. I've built some really strong relationships with some very successful people. Matter of fact, in my network, most of the people in my network are more successful than I am, like by a lot. But that's great. Again, I'm associating with, again, if you're the average of the top 5 people you associate with, then I'm only going to go up from here because I'm modeling after these people and emulating after them. So anyways, but yeah, the first step is go do a little research, do some homework, get online. Who's doing what you want to do and who's doing it well? Like who's really crushing at whatever it is you want to do?
Great point. So many of our clients have told me that you just don't know how to ask someone to mentor them. I think you gave some great insights on this earlier when you mentioned thinking about how you can serve that mentor, how you can make their life easier.
Mm.
But how do you recommend someone start that conversation with a potential mentor?
Oh, I love this one. Okay. So again, let's say they're a busy person. Let's just say, for instance, I'm going to give you a strategy here that's going to blow your mind. Okay. So check this out. Let's say it's Ed Milet. Ed Milet is like a huge name. He's got millions and millions of followers. This guy's crushing the game. So let's say it's Ed Milet. Okay. Ed Milet's going to have some gatekeepers. It's going to be pretty hard to get his attention. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to locate his accounts. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to follow him, right? And I'm going to ring his notification bell on everything that he's got. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, wherever I'm at, I'm going to go connect with him and I'm going to go follow and ring his notification bell. That's number one. The first reason why I'm doing that is because I want him appearing in my news feed. I'm tailoring my news feed. I want to see him. It's like when you go to buy a red Ford F-150, and then all of a sudden that's where you see, like, everywhere you look is a red Ford F-150, right? That's what I want to do with my own news feed. If I want Ed Milet, I need to go follow him on all my social channels so that he's all around me at all times. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is there's a tool out here. It's a personalization communication tool called Bomb. And what it is, it's a video tool. And this tool allows you to send little small personalized videos. And these videos are like a voicemail. Okay. You want to think of it like a voicemail. But what I would do is I would get a little whiteboard and I'd write Ed's name on it. Okay. And I literally do this. I have this because I do it every day. Okay. So I would then look at his content on social media. And let's say there's a post that really resonated with me. Okay. There's 3 C's. I call it the 3 C's. So you have the first one is commonality. Okay. I want to bridge a gap. What's the thing I have in common with Ed? Okay. The second thing is compliment. And then the third thing is a call to action. Okay. So what I would do is, let's say he had a post and he's talking about some event he was speaking at in California, something like that. Okay. I would say something like, hey, Ed, man, I really loved your post about your event in California. I thought that was awesome. It actually got me thinking about my family. My grandparents live in Whittier, California. Grandma just turned 90. Anyways, it got me thinking I need to go see my grandma, but I hope you're doing well. Thanks again for the post. Hey, I'd love to have a quick chat with you sometime. There's a link to my calendar up above. You can just click the link and pick the time that works best for you. But hope to connect with you soon. Have a blessed day. Keep crushing it, and we'll talk soon. And so you do this in a little short video, 30 seconds long, and you send this to Ed on social media publicly in a comment. This is a video comment. This is not a DM.
Wow.
This is not because his DMs get blown up, right? This is a comment, and his comment section gets blown up too, by the way. But it's all blown up by black and white text. And I'm gonna have the only video standing out, and literally the video has a GIF. It has the first 3 seconds loop, and so all he sees is boom, his name, my face. Like it does like this, boom. And I'm smiling. He sees his name. He can't help it. If he's actually like looking at that, he will press play. Okay. And here's the cool thing about this strategy is that, let's say again, it's Ed. He's a big social media giant, right? Typically, his video that he posts that day for Instagram is the same video that's posted for LinkedIn. It's the same video that's posted for Facebook. It's like that video he posted that day goes across all platforms. So my video now goes across all platforms. The one that I just created for him, it's relevant. So I can go to his Facebook, leave that same comment. I can go to LinkedIn, leave that same comment. Because I don't know. He's actually probably looking at one of them. I don't know which one it is. But I have a higher likelihood. I have a higher chance. And the other thing is that his social media managers are going to see that. And so do you do it just once? No. Maybe you do it daily. Maybe you say, literally, you could write his name and do like this. You could put Ed, and then you could put number 1. Okay. And you could number your videos. You say Ed number 1, something like that. Okay. In the first video, you're like, hey, Ed, this is video number 1. I know you're a really busy guy. I don't even know if you're going to see this, to be honest with you. So this is my first video. I'm sending it to you. I just wanted to say thanks again for all you do, blah, 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 blah. And then the second day, video number 2. Hey, Ed, me again. I'm just trying to figure out how many videos it takes to get a conversation.
I love it. I love it. This is so bold, but I love it, Trevor. I was definitely thinking that it was going to go into the DMs, and you caught me. It goes right in the comment section. So
Yeah.
let's say someone has used that strategy. They've used BOM or some other way to get the attention, start that conversation about mentorship. Something else I hear, Trevor, is people say, okay, I have a mentor, but since it's not like a formal mentoring program, I don't know what to say. I don't know how often we should be talking. I don't want to bother them. They start to get in their head about it. So what are some tips or recommendations you would give to someone who wants to continue to build that mentoring relationship with someone?
The Career 101 podcast is brought to you by Fly High Coaching, where we help our clients soar to their full potential. More and more professionals and executives are setting out to achieve their career goals. But without the right support, it can be difficult, if not impossible. Whether you need career coaching, interview coaching, or a professional resume, we're here to help. Check us out on our website, fly-highcoaching.com.
Yeah, again, it goes back to if it's not an official mentorship relationship, like you don't have anything put in writing or anything like that. Again, figure out how you can make their life easier. That's like my number one thing is when relationship building. Again, okay. Think about the person, one of those people in your life that just you absolutely look up to, like you're like super close. You would do anything for that person, and chances are they would do anything with you for you because the reason is because the relationship is strong. Okay. So how do you expedite your relationship? You've got to add value to them. You've got to make their life easier. You've got to do something for them that makes them like you. Let's just be real about it. So one of the things that I've done, and it's what you're doing right now, it's what I call relationship on steroids, is podcasting is a great way to expedite relationship building and also have something of value you can give, right? When you reach out to Ed Milet, right? Now he's got a giant platform too, but hey, Ed, I'd love to have you on my podcast and highlight the work that you do. You inspire me. I love your work and I'd love to share that with my audience. I'm giving something of value. And like what you're doing right now, you're sharing your platform with me. You're giving value to me. And this is just a great way for us to build a relationship, and it expedites a relationship. Now, again, if you don't have a podcast, you got to go find a pain point. You got to find something that Ed's struggling with. Find some way to make his life easier. And even if that's just making him smile, again, this whole strategy right here, like what I'm talking about, this literally could make him smile or make him laugh. If you can make him smile or make him laugh, you're done. You got it. And so again, I think the question was more along the lines of, if there's not a official relationship, mentorship, like a contract involved, just continue to add value. That's the key here. Add value, figure out how you can make their life easier, make them like you more, and ultimately they'll want to help you more. I've got a lady, Amelia Antonetti, I'm thinking of her right now. And this lady's done some seriously big things. Okay. She works with Steve Harvey. She's created multiple like $100 million businesses and sold them. And she was the lady behind the Listerine strip, like the whole Listerine strip thing put on your tongue. Like that was her. This lady's done some massive things. She's such a high up person anyways. And I've just simply just added so much value. And now she calls me her son. You know what I mean? Like when we talk, she introduces me as her son to other people. She's like, yeah, this is like my son. He's like this, he's like that. But it's because I'm constantly just adding value. How can I help her? Like she's got other businesses she's creating. And I'm always thinking, oh, this person could help Amelia. How could I connect? I'm connecting people to her to, again, make her life easier. And so, yeah, that's the secret right there. If you can make their life easier, if you can add value, they'll want to help you.
So on the other end of the spectrum, what are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen professionals and executives make when building mentoring relationships?
Such a great question. It's like the exact opposite of what I was just talking about. It's the take mentality. And if you come to me and you're like just a take, we all know that person, right? I don't even really want to help you. Like I will, but golly, I just don't want to. Like, cause you're just coming from a wrong place. Like I've gone to networking meetings where I bump into somebody, then they want my help, and but the way they're approaching it is a turnoff. It's all about them, right? They're making it all about them. And it's like I said, I was talking earlier about adding value, giving, figuring out how you can serve them. That's what networking is. It's about making about the other person. The law of reciprocity. So it's, if you scratch my back, I scratch your back. What goes around comes around. You've heard all these things, karma, right? Like all of these things, you reap what you sow, right? So when somebody's just going in, take, yeah, it's just gross. So that would probably be one of the biggest mistakes. It's the easiest way to turn me off from even wanting to help you, is to go in there just making it all about yourself.
Yeah. Definitely do not be a taker, guys. So, Trevor, tell us more about your business and your show.
Yeah, absolutely. With my business, I learned a long time ago, again, give before you ask, right? Give first. And I bumped into this group of people that were going through a career transition, and I identified with them because there was a job that I got let go from in 2008, 2009 with the Great Recession. I was selling Harley Davidsons at that time. And so not a lot of people were buying Harleys. I got let go. And so I went through a career transition, and it was pretty hard on me. It was really hard on me. I got depressed. I had anxiety and stress, and I'm watching my bank account go backwards and all that stuff. And so fast forward a few years later, I get into financial services and I run into this group, and it's about 100 senior level executives who are all in transition, and their job search was taking them a long time. Some of them, it was a year and a half. One guy was 28 months. And you watch these people, and the energy is just so low, and they're depressed and they're anxious and they're fearful. And I knew where all that stemmed from because I went through it myself. When you're in a career transition, you're in a financial transition. And again, you're watching your bank account go negative, all those kinds of things. And there's a whole lot of ancillary issues, financial issues, actually, when you're in a career transition. But I knew, again, the mantra is give first. How do I help these people? How do I serve these people? How do I add value to these people? How do I make their lives easier? I can't just go in there talking about my financial services practice and all of that stuff. That's not going to be, it's not going to work. It's going to turn people off. They're in a vulnerable place. And so I just knew I had to serve first. So I said, you know what? Let me look at this holistically. Let me figure out how I can create strategies on how to get them back to their income. And regardless of whether they work with me on the financial side and do anything with me, like I want to help them recover their income. And the more I did that, the more I poured into that, just great things have happened. And I started to get recognized for the work I was doing in the community. When I originally started doing it, I had no idea how to help. I didn't know how to help these job seekers, but I just knew I felt led to. I was like, I got to do something. I went on LinkedIn and I started connecting with recruiters and hiring managers. And this was the old school day of LinkedIn when you could do some things. Like back in the day, I was guilty of it, okay? I went back in the day to recruiters and hiring managers, and I was connect. Would do the search bar. I do the search bar. Recruiters. Here's all these recruiters I'm connect. You can't do that today.
Right.
They will block your account so fast. But I did. I built a big old network. And I started, when they would connect with me, then I would go and I'd say, hey, I got this group over here of job seekers I'm trying to help. Can we sit down and maybe have some coffee and figure out how we can do something to help them? So I'd sit down for coffee and stuff like that and network with these recruiters. And they loved it. They were like, I was connecting dots and people were getting jobs. I started to get recognized for it and was invited onto a podcast. And this was years and years ago. And this is my first podcast. I was absolutely terrified. I'm like this. I'm like, I was like so terrified. But after I got done with that show, I was like, we got to do this. I looked at my business partner. I was like, we have to do this. We need a show. We got to do this. This is awesome. And so just so happened there was a studio right across the street from our office. What are the chances of that? So we signed up 2018, January 2018, started the Who Show, and been doing it ever since. And it's been amazing. Again, talk about relationship building. The Who Show has been just an incubator for relationships, and the impact that it's been able to have has been amazing. So that's really where it all started, though. It started from getting let go myself back in 2009.
Yeah. I think it's so creative, but also altruistic for you to think about how to serve those job seekers and do all of the networking you did with the recruiters to make that connection before you started talking about your financial services. That's just hats off to you. I don't think I've seen many people do that. And from a business perspective, you want to put on your business cap, that's great marketing, but not in a, I don't know if I want to say direct, but not in a kind of really forceful way, right? Your name is getting out there. People are knowing who you are. And then when the time is right, then they will reach out to you about the services. So great. We'll be providing a link to your website and other social channels in our show notes so people can find you online. But what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you, Trevor, if they're not a taker, right? No takers, but just if someone says, hey, you know what, Trevor, love what you're doing, and they want to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. Connect with me on LinkedIn. That'd be the best way. And send me one of those little videos.
Great.
Send me a video. I promise if you send me a video, I'm gonna reply to you.
Yeah, they've got their homework. They've got their homework. So now I'm going to ask you the last question, Trevor, that I ask all of our guests. How do you think executives or professionals can get a positive edge in their career?
It's not what you know, it's who you know, right? I've been talking about this the whole time. It's about the people in your life. I think about my career journey, and it was always people. So figure out how you can add value to the people that you want in your life, the people that you love and appreciate. How can you add value to them? How can you make their life easier? And that's it. That's the secret sauce. I truly believe that, because you're one relationship away from everything you want in life. Imagine, I don't know. Okay, imagine Ed Milet takes me under his wing. That'll change my life. 100%. Change my life, right? You're one relationship away from everything you want in life. So figure out how you can add value.
Well, Trevor, you have shared a lot of wisdom with us today, and I'm sure that our listeners can use it to be more confident in their careers. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you so much.
This episode was brought to you by the Bravebird Career Alliance, the go-to membership designed for seasoned executives and ambitious professionals with everything you need for career planning, strategy, training, and support. Thank you again for listening to the Career 101 podcast. I hope you have at least one key takeaway that you can use in your own career. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, please rate, subscribe, and share this podcast. Until next time, here's to your success.